Hi, my name is Jessica Gigstad, and I literally live in a cornfield in Kansas.
I'm married to the nicest farmer ever, and we love raising our children in rural America. But even though I'm a country girl at heart, I love being fancy. I love finding new recipes. I have a passion for entertaining. But here on the farm, it's most important to nourish my nearest and dearest. Whether it's entertaining al fresco or a cozy night in, I'll find a way to make it simple and scrumptious.
Let's elevate your everyday, yes? Welcome to Highbrow Down Home. On this episode of Highbrow Down Home, I am fixing a pork chili verde, some light and fluffy bacon cornbread, and a chipotle mac and cheese. Instead of my normal red chili and cinnamon rolls like I usually make, I'm spicing it up today with a pork chili verde and a light and fluffy cornbread to go along with it. I have a pound of pork tenderloin here that I've just kind of cubed up. And next I'm gonna get started on my spice rub. And this is just salt, oregano, paprika, and chili powder. And I'm gonna give it a little mix around. And you could season up your pork just right on the plate as you cut it, but this is just keeping my hands a little cleaner. It's just a little less mess. All right, and so I'm gonna sprinkle this in. I have an aunt that would not ever touch raw chicken or raw meat of any kind. So this is a good method if you're a little squeamish about that. All right, done. I've got 2 tablespoons of vegetable oil or soybean oil. Thank you, Farmers of America. It's heating in my skillet behind me, and I'm gonna drop it in. It's nice and hot, so we're gonna get a nice sear on all these pork cubes. All right, we'll take the meat and sear it up. I can especially smell the chili powder. And we'll want to let this pork rest on one side for just a minute so it gets that nice brown sear on it. And this really doesn't take any time at all. I'm keeping the pork in an even layer so I don't crowd everything and it has room to kind of sear on the outside rather than letting it steam all together. We don't want that. We want nice brown bits all over. This is looking really delicious. I'm going to scoop it out with my spatula. And right there on the bottom of the pan, that is what is going to flavor this soup to stratospheric heights. I'll be anxious to see what my chili girl Liesel thinks of this. Chili is her favorite food in the whole wide world, so I'll be anxious to see what she thinks. Now that my pork is done, I am going to grab my cup of diced red onion and I'm going to sprinkle that in. And I'm just gonna push this around in the pan until it's nice and soft. And while my onions are softening up, I'm going to take these tomatillos and I'm going to put them under the broiler for about 5 to 7 minutes until they're nice and black on the outside. My tomatillos are done and I am putting them in a little blender to make a little green salsa. And we'll need about a cup for this recipe. this in. These nice fresh tomatillos are gonna give this some authentic Mexican flavor. All right, and we'll stir that all around. And it just adds this beautiful brightness to the soup. All right, and next it's time to add in that delicious pork again. And all the juices that go along with it. Certainly would not want to waste any of that flavor. All right, there we go, and we'll mix this and combine it all up. Right here, this mixture would be perfect in tacos with a little sour cream. Delicious, but we're gonna keep going with our soup. And I have a drained can of black beans right here. We'll put those in. And then for a little extra spice and flavor, I'm just gonna pour in about half a cup of green salsa. You wanna make sure you get a mild green salsa when you're adding this, because one time I bought a jar of green salsa that was made primarily from jalapenos. Wow, that was a spicy soup. All right, and next we're going to add in 3 cups of chicken broth, but I'm gonna reserve 1 cup of it to make a slurry here. Okay, and to make a slurry, I'm going to use some masa, which is corn flour basically, and I'm going to add in 3 tablespoons of masa. And that's gonna help this thicken up and give it some nice corn flavor. Okay, there we go. I've turned the heat up to high, so the more this bubbles, the thicker it'll get. And it's looking utterly scrumptious. It just needs 1 more finishing touch. And next we're gonna add in some lime juice, about 2 tablespoons. And it's amazing what this acid will do. If something is too spicy, just add an acid like a lime or some lemon juice, and it's like a magic how it calms it down. Plus gives it some extra special flavor. Oop. Go. And we'll give it a little bit more. It's not a very juicy lime. It's a stingy lime. There we go. Okay. And we'll give this a stir. It might need just a sprinkle more of salt, but other than that, this is perfect. I cannot wait to pair this with my light and fluffy cornbread. Coming up next, my light and fluffy bacon cornbread. Don't go anywhere. While my pork chili verde is thickening up on the stove, I'm going to put together a light and fluffy cornbread to plop on the top. It's going to be so delicious. This lighter than air cornbread starts with our dry ingredients, which is 2 cups of flour, and a cup of cornmeal. We were on a trip to South Carolina over the summer, and we went to this dockside restaurant in the South, and oh my gosh, Cal inhaled their cornbread. It was just the lightest, fluffiest. He had 2 pieces that were like this big before our food even came. So I made this with him in mind. And I will give this a whisk around. I love the bright, sunny color of cornbread. And I also love that little bit of graininess that you get with it. So delicious. All right. And then next we're going to add 1.25 teaspoons of baking powder. we're gonna add in a half a teaspoon of salt. I'm going a little bit lighter on the salt because we are gonna add some bacony goodness to this, and that's going to take this cornbread over the top. And bacon's already kind of salty, so we're going to just hold off a little bit on the salt. Okay, my dry ingredients are all mixed up. And now we're ready for our wet ingredients. So I'm going to make just a little well in the center here. And I'm gonna crack in 3 room temperature eggs. Room temperature eggs always just incorporate a little bit better than when they're nice and cold out of the fridge. This is also Cal's favorite thing to do in the kitchen is crack eggs. The eggshells that I have been picking out of food lately, it would surprise you. All right, and we'll give those a little whisk around inside my well. Go and just kind of beat them up and break them up a bit. Okay, and to this we are gonna add half a cup of oil. And a cup and a quarter of milk. Actually, I'm gonna switch to my spatula. There we go. And this cornbread, since it has bacon in it, it's a great breakfast food, especially if you're on your way out the door. And then we're going to drop in 8 tablespoons of melted butter because, of course, warm melted butter, yum. Looking gorgeous. Now it's time for the bacon. So let me grab that off the stove. Okay. And I've just fried up about 5 pieces of bacon. And I'm just going to remove the bacon from my pan. And I like how this makes this extra hearty and extra delicious. All right. And now we're going to take about a tablespoon of this bacon fat, and I'm just gonna put that right in to the batter. All right, and then we'll take the bacon and we'll just cut it into chunks. Nice big hearty chunks. And this cornbread would go great with traditional red chili as well. That would be so good. I love how it's sweet and savory and it's got all these fun textures in it. All right, so into the batter we go. You luscious, luscious thing. Oh, yum. Oh, I wish you could smell it. It smells amazing. And it looks so pretty too. And now we're ready to get this in its baking dish. I have a 9x13 here that I've buttered. And we'll pour it all in, smooth it out. And we've got the perfect side dish for a cold winter's night. Gosh, looks so good. It smells so good. Sweet, savory, chewy. Okay, it looks gorgeous. into a 350-degree oven for about 35 minutes until the edges are just starting to turn brown. When we come back, my Chipotle mac and cheese. Stay right here. Every good midwinter meal needs a saucy side to go along with it, and this Chipotle mac and cheese checks all the boxes. It's crunchy, it's spicy, and it's so comforting, and it has a healthy dose of veggies to boot. So it starts with 2 tablespoons of butter, and I've got those melting in my pan here, and we'll just give that a nice stir around. And to this, I am going to add 2 teaspoons of smoked paprika. And we're gonna toast up this paprika along with the butter. And this makes the sauce such a cool color. I love it. Okay. That's looking lovely. And next, out of this paprika and butter, we're gonna make a little roux. So I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of flour. And that's gonna thicken up our sauce. And I'll just whisk this around. Okay, and that's all incorporated. So now I'm going to add in some whole milk, 1.5 cups of whole milk. And I'll add this in nice and gradually, just so it can get all incorporated. And here's round 2. Believe it or not, my kids actually really like this. It is a little bit spicy, but the cheesiness and the pasta that we add in later, they really go for. And we'll just let this bubble, toil and trouble for a few minutes until it gets nice and thick. And I'll just sprinkle in a little bit of salt and some pepper. As you can see, the sauce has gotten nice and thick. It's bubbling up. So now we're gonna add all the cheesy goodness. So I have about 2.5 cups of grated pepper jack here. And I'm gonna reserve about 1/2 cup for the topping. And this pepper jack is gonna give this such a nice little kick of spice. Oh my goodness, you can see the cheese just melting in there. Ooh la la. And then for even more spiciness, I'm gonna drop in about 1/4 teaspoon of cayenne. Stir around. Yum. And then for a little bit of prettiness and some freshness, I'm going to drop in some diced parsley. Oh my gosh, that's so pretty. It looks like fall. It's green and orange. It's just luscious. Oh my gosh. Is this like a luscious sauce or what? So good. All right, our sauce is done. So now it is time to assemble. So I've got some cauliflower here that I've just broken up the little florets. And then I have 1.5 cups of pasta that I've cooked about halfway. So it's still fairly crunchy, but it has a little bit of a start. And we're going to just pour this lusciousness all over and coat everything. Here we go. And this is the hardest part, just not letting any pasta or cauliflower escape. And I love how cauliflower just really absorbs all the flavor that you add to it. It's kind of like tofu in that way, if I ate tofu, which I don't. But I love how this feels really luxurious, but it's still pretty healthy. And now I'm going to add this to my casserole dish here. Oh man, I love all that cheesiness and the pasta. And you don't have to feel too terribly guilty about eating it because you're getting lots of veggies. And I'll spread this around. I have some tortilla chips here, and I'm gonna crunch these up over the top. All right, and then I'm going to take some more of my pepper jack cheese and go over the top with that. And then my cheddar. And I like the bite of sharp cheddar on this. And I'm using probably about 1/2 cup to 3/4 of a cup. And then I'm going to top it with some cilantro leaves that I'm just gonna rip up. And I'll put some more fresh cilantro on it when it's time to serve. There we go. And that pop of green is just gorgeous on here. All right. This is chipotle mac and cheese, and this goes into a 400-degree oven for about 35 minutes. I cover it with foil and then let it brown on the top for the last 10 minutes or so. Our chipotle mac and cheese is out of the oven and it's looking crispy and cheesy and all of the adjectives. All we need now is just a little sprinkle of cilantro on it. Again, just to liven it up. And we're ready for our chilly weather smorgasbord. There we go. So much yum. I love how the cilantro leaves just brighten it right up. And this looks so good. Let's just see what it looks like. Oh my gosh. You know when you've got to break through the crusty topping, it's gonna be a good dish. So yummy. Oh, look at that. Oh, so fun. I love it. I'll just have to give it a little taste here. Grab it. Okay, we'll give it a little taste. I've got some cauliflower disguised as mac and cheese. It's nice and spicy, but not overwhelming. This is going to be perfect on the side of our pork chili verde and our bacon cornbread. Let's grab the soup off of the stove. Oh my gosh, it smells like Mexico or, oh my gosh, a splash of tequila and that would be the perfect thing, but this is a kid-friendly show, so we'll abstain from that. All right, let's grab a bowl of this pork chili verde. Ah, yum. Oh my goodness. I love seeing the tomatillos in there. All the fun flecks of flavor, yum. And then we're gonna do a little bed of sour cream, perfection. And then some shredded cheese, all over the top. Darling, you're gorgeous. Shut up. Okay, And, sorry, I'm such a dork. And some cilantro leaves all over. I know you talk to your food too. And then we've got our cornbread out of the oven. So let's give this, get that on top. So delicious. I like the inside though, so I'm gonna get an inside piece. And grab that. Just plop that right on the top. And another little cilantro leaf. Oh, so gorgeous. This is beautiful. Look at this. I mean, who would not want this on a cold winter's night? Let's just dig in and try some. I tell you what, I am a fan of red chili, but this might be a winner. This could very well be better. From our house to your house, I hope you find lots of ways to enjoy chilly weather.